Hello, Jack. Oh. Hello, Jack. Morning, everybody. ICE is raiding LA. Oh. Taking a gnarly shit on company time right now. That's beautiful. Jesus Christ. Dude, this is like me when I'm fucking playing paintball. Hey, real quick. If you're an ICE agent, I hope you never have a day of joy for the rest of your life. You are no better than the Ku Klux Klan. You are no better than the SS. You are a subhuman, inferior being. I genuinely wish you ill. And if your family is ICE, rat them out. Let us know what they look like. Show us their faces. Tell us their names. I fucking mean that. I fully fucking mean that. How you doing, Doug? Fucking cowards. Jack, mute yourself for 60 seconds. Put yourself in the corner for 60 seconds. By the way, this isn't ICE. This is the LAPD. The LAPD is not supposed to interact with ICE. Any police department is legally not supposed to fight alongside ICE. That would need some sort of order from your governor. So, potentially Gavin Newsom ordered the LAPD to do this. Hey, where was this on January 6th, by the way? Where was this on January 6th? Why didn't they bring out the smoke guns and the paintball guns and the pepper balls and the flashbangs? Where was this? Very, very intriguing. Yo, massive shout out to people like this guy. Massive shout out to the brave journalists who are willing to put their lives on the line to get footage of the Nazis taking over our nation. Without the footage of the Nazis taking over, most people would not believe this shit. This is a war zone. This is the type of shit that happens in a war zone. We can see some of their faces. Also, look at the comments. Fuck around and find out, idiots. Bring in the military. It is time. Stupid motherfuckers. Fuck around and find out you won't win. This is what I voted for. Stupid fuck. So many of us voted for this. Yeah, so these people are subhuman. Let's see what this guy looks like. Oh, whoops. I want to see what these subhumans look like.
There was a earlier...
There's one. There's one. There's a Nazi. Found one. Patrick D. Snyder from Michigan, USA. Yeah, this guy's a Nazi.
Earlier this morning, apparently a raid by ICE here at a business called Ambiance. Then a crowd started forming outside the perimeter. They started actually surrounding these buildings.
We have a piece of video. You can see that they've gotten the people and they put them in these vans. It was a very strange sight.
Yo, Brian, I'm not kidding, Brian. If you have a neighbor who actually flies like a swastika in his window, you should put on a balaclava, get a brick, and shatter his fucking window. The reason being, he won't call the police to be like, they shattered the window that was holding my swastika. And you could even go viral for that. You should genuinely do that.
To see, because they started to leave and there were people who were protesting, trying to keep these vans from getting out. And the video seen here is deeply troubling because these officers, look, there's that person in front, and the officers did not stop, these agents or whatever federal authorities they were, and notice how this person continued to stay in front, and the officer did not slow. No officer came out and tried to get this out.
That's attempted murder. This is attempted murder, by the way. This is attempted murder. For that ICE agent to not stop the car, that is attempted murder.
And then watch as the person in front falls and hits his head on the ground, and that just seemed like it was an injury. But then these agents then moved aside and then immediately
That's
took
a crime. We, the people, should demand the identity of the driver of this car and demand prosecution. That is attempted murder. That is fleeing the scene of a crime. This is illegal. This is highly fucking illegal.
And
Thank you for the $2 donation. They even raided a courthouse. Jesus Christ.
Watched these agents almost as if it was a chase. They got together in the caravan, and we watched as those agencies, or those three vans, went to the Roybal federal building where they took the people that they had detained. And that was the second caravan that had gone there.
These fucking people.
We begin here at 7 o'clock with Chris Wolf outside the Metropolitan Detention Center with the latest details on the immigration enforcement actions.
Yes, this is the American Crystal knocked.
Throughout the day, Chris.
Yeah, Micah and Cher, unrest obviously continues tonight over the immigration sweeps today. These ICE raids, much of downtown LA is closed off. We are near the detention center where a lot of the people rounded up today have been transported. Crowds are gathering all throughout this area and outside the federal building. Law enforcement personnel in riot gear are keeping a close watch on the tense atmosphere. They've been firing rubber bullets and pepper spray for crowd control at times. As I said, we are near the Metropolitan Detention Center where a lot of the people who were rounded up and arrested and handcuffed today were taken. Clearly, the situation has been explosive and chaotic. Tear gas, flashbangs, angry crowds, and heavily armed and armored U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents marked a volatile Friday in the heart of Los Angeles during a series of immigration sweeps. Agents swarmed into at least 3 locations looking for suspected immigration law violators. The blowback was fast and fierce, with some protesters jumping in front of law enforcement vehicles to prevent them from moving.
They did need to bring in some backup here.
KTLA was in the air and on the ground during the immigration enforcement firestorm. Footage shows federal agents chasing people in the parking lot of a Home Depot in the Westlake district, not far from downtown Los Angeles. Individuals often gather at home improvement stores looking for temporary work opportunities with customers. Another raid unfolded at a clothing store along Town Avenue in the Fashion District, where agents hauled off multiple workers in handcuffs, loading them into vans, as other agents in riot gear clashed with onlookers in what could be described as a tense standoff. Immigration rights advocates joined the show.
We got some faces. We got some
Immigration
faces.
rights.
There's a face. There's a face. We've got some faces.
Advocates joined.
Is this dead-ass America's Crystal Knocked? I'm personally in denial. Yes, this is day 1 of Crystal Knocked. Starting in LA is a crazy fucking choice, but this is day 1 of Crystal Knocked in America. I can't keep telling you guys this. America has fallen. I'm not saying this to be facetious. I'm not saying this to be a fearmonger. You do not live in a democracy. You live in a fascist dictatorship. And Trump has his own secret police force that is disappearing people to concentration camps across the planet. You live in a Nazi regime.
The showdown, using megaphones at times to speak to garment industry workers, telling them to avoid signing any paperwork or speaking to federal agents. The activity is the latest
Crystal
roundup
Knocked is
in
the
the
night
Trump
of broken
administration.
glass. It was the night where Hitler's Nazis, before they really had full power, across the entire nation, they started shattering the windows of Jewish businesses. They started beating Jewish business owners to death. They started dragging them out into the streets. It was the beginning of the downfall of Germany.
Administration's unparalleled crackdown on illegal immigration. Another ICE raid Friday targeted what appeared to be a clothing warehouse or possibly corporate headquarters building in the South Los Angeles area.
Since this happened today and no one was notified, will this happen again tomorrow? Will it be next week? Will it be next month? It's that sense of uncertainty, fear, and anxiety that is created in our city when this happens.
Back here live where CHP officers have shut down the 101 freeway through this area. This is Aliso Street and Los Angeles streets. Again, a very tense situation continues over today's immigration sweeps. Mayor Bass says she will be meeting with immigrant advocates and the LAPD chief next week to formulate a plan of action moving forward. We will have much more on this breaking and developing story throughout the night. We'll be back with you.
It's fucked. This is absolutely fucked.
The President of the United States was awake last night, concerned about our law enforcement officers. Pete Hegseth was involved. Everybody was there. What can we do to bring peace? What can we do to bring stability? What do we do when we have guys like Hakeem Jeffries standing up in front of the world and saying it's okay to write kill ICE, it's okay to throw things at law enforcement officers, it's okay to do that? That's not okay, not in America. We have rules, we have laws. When people are murderers and rapists, they have consequences, and we are going to make sure that they face consequences. But those statements put out by Newsom.
The only good thing Kristi Noem could possibly do is use her duck lips to suck my fucking cock. Kristi Noem, you're a dirty fucking tramp. You're a disgusting plastic bitch. You are Hitler's Barbie. You are Hitler's Barbie doll. You are a subhuman fascist piece of shit. Nobody wishes you well. Nobody.
And Karen Bass is absolutely ridiculous, because what we need is action right now. I mean, be people that are leaders for once. And let's not go back to 2020 when they were burning down the city of Minneapolis and you had people like Tim Walz encouraging it. I mean, this has been going on now by Democrat politicians for years, and that's why Donald Trump is in the White House. He's the only guy who fights for every single American. And I'm so proud to work for him. I can't believe it. I can't believe that these dummies in the Democrat Party are still around and getting elected.
Secretary Noem, you talk about consequences. One of the folks involved here was labor union leader David Huerta. Is he going to go to jail? And what kind of penalties could we expect to see for him? And is this the opportunity to send
legal to think
a statement to so-called leaders about what they do with respect to the actual rule of law?
You know, I don't know what the prosecution will be like, because obviously we've got judges out there that are weaponizing the judicial system as well. But yes, I believe that we will press charges against everybody that has broken a law last night, and we should do that. And we'll continue to do our ICE operations. We'll continue to make sure everybody in this country has the law equally applied to them. And these leaders, I don't think we need to make examples out of them. I think we need to make examples out of criminals. And if the leaders are criminals, then they need to face the consequences too. That's just the way this country works, and that's how freedom works. Freedom works when everybody has justice applied equally to them.
So speaking of enforcing the law, Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been returned to the United States to face criminal charges for trafficking illegal immigrants into the U.S. after Democrats hailed him as a hero. You know, it really is kind of amazing when you look at those images that we're watching from L.A., and then you think about this guy who has now been charged with human trafficking involving, including children. I can't help but look at all of it through the lens of politics. It's so bad I don't know how Democrats, how they get out of this situation where they're defending this lawlessness, and in particular, defending a guy who has been charged with human trafficking of children.
Yeah, in a fucking kangaroo court. Fucking kangaroo court, you dumb fuck. You said that Kilmar Abrego Garcia was part of a conspiracy of 17 men, and yet he's the only one being indicted, to the point where the head prosecutor at the Department of Justice literally resigned and said that he cannot be a part of this because this is entirely a political witch hunt. Resigned. That should strike the fear of God into you.
It wasn't that he just did it. It's that a grand jury said it was his full-time job.
Yeah.
The guy spent his life trafficking people and children and selling them into slavery. So he's back. He's getting prosecuted. Then he'll be returning back to El Salvador. But the fact that we had Democrat politicians and Van Hollen down there defending him and standing beside him, buying him margaritas, when this guy trafficked children
margaritas. That's literally what Nayib Bukele tried to set up. I don't know if you know this, Chris Van Hollen refused to do the first interview with Kilmar Abrego Garcia because they literally put him outside of a pool and they put a margarita on the table in front of him, despite the fact that his ankles were shackled underneath the table and his wrists were shackled. So Chris Van Hollen said, I'm not fucking doing this interview. Get rid of the pool, get rid of the margarita. She's so pissed that she didn't get to actually use that fucking image.
Living and did it as his full-time job is just, it shouldn't be shocking. It still is shocking to me that we have people like this that go so far out on a limb just to be a big frickin' deal in a political arena where they think that that actually works. It doesn't work. It's not going to work anymore. The American people are sick of it.
But, you know, Secretary, no, you look at that, you look at the defense of this guy, even going to El Salvador, a couple of politicians. Why? Why are they doubling down on protecting this illegal immigrant involved with so many horrific things? Why?
Yeah, I had this conversation with Van Hollen and
because he didn't get due process.
And he couldn't defend himself. He couldn't defend himself. He kept saying, oh, you didn't give him judicial process. You didn't give him the right to have due process. Absolutely we did. And you went down there anyways and went down there and stood beside someone who's a wife beater, a human trafficker, and said that you support that guy. I said, when's the last time you did that for one of your constituents, one of the people who live in your state and actually need your help? When's the last time you fought that hard for those individuals? Instead, because you thought it was political and it would work for you, you went and stood by a criminal, a guy who has abused children his entire life. So the more we educate the American public on what these Democrats are doing, the more they realize they just abandoned this country. Last night they were burning American flags in the streets in L.A.
Yeah.
And the leaders in L.A.
We are constitutionally protected to be allowed to burn American flags. There was a Supreme Court case about this during the Vietnam War, you dumb cunt.
Let that happen. They were taking American flags and lighting them on fire. Those are not people who love America and people who want justice for everybody.
Brother, we literally are constitutionally protected to do that.
People who are trying to perpetuate violence to promote an agenda. And I saw this in 2020 all across this country where they used fear to control people. And that's what Democrats are doing.
No, Coops, you're incorrect. Facts don't care about your feelings. You are constitutionally protected to burn the American flag. That is not illegal whatsoever. There was a Supreme Court case about this because during the first anti-war protests during the Vietnam War, plenty of people were burning American flags, and they tried to arrest them for this. The Supreme Court had a fucking court hearing, and they ruled that it is completely legal to burn the American flag. That is a form of freedom of speech. That is completely and totally legal.
They're trying to use fear to control people, and our law enforcement officers, every day when they go to work, they're concerned about losing their lives, and their moms and children and wives are worried about losing their family members, and it's not right. So in fact, we have a president that's in the White House that's going to make sure that this isn't going to go on. Every single person that throws a rock or a bottle where we have jurisdiction, they're going to get arrested. They just are. Every single weapon assault, anytime you write something like kill ICE, you are going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent that we have the ability to do that and bring consequences down.
And they're obviously also trying to slow down, halt deportations.
I actually don't think burning money is legal. That, I'm not sure. I don't think that's legal.
If he's convicted, he'll serve his time, and then he'll be deported. Is there any world in which what's happening now on the streets of places like L.A. slows down in any way the deportations?
Chris, is it really America's crystal knocked if ICE wasn't beating immigrants to death? Yes. Yes, it is. I don't think many people died during Kristallnacht. I think it was like double digits. How many people died during Kristallnacht? 91 Jews were killed during the immediate violence of the pogrom. However, modern scholars suggest that the total number of deaths is much higher. Yeah, so it's only double digits. It really wasn't that many of them. Some sources give different numbers, 400, or driven to commit suicide.
Trump administration is pursuing.
What's what they're trying to do? They're trying to slow us down and scare people and officers from doing their jobs, and they're trying to use the judicial courts, ones that they think are more friendly or activists, to slow us down from being able to do the job that the American people want us to do. We're going to do things right. We're going to run our cases, make sure that everybody is afforded the ability that they have to go through a
Why do you relate the U.S. now to Nazi Germany so much? It's weird, bro. Because the United States today currently emulates Nazi Germany's rise, the rise of fascism, using the Gestapo to point out undesirables, round them up, deport them, throw them in camps, throw them in prison. Because Donald Trump is a fascist and he's using Hitler's playbook to rise to power. Yeah, that's why.
We're going to get them out of this country because Joe Biden allowed an invasion to happen of dangerous criminals, and the laws in this country matter. All we are doing is enforcing the law. If these protesters want the laws to change, go talk to your senator. Go talk to your congressman, because we are following the law. If you want the law to change...
Did you know that it was illegal to hide Anne Frank and it was legal to kill her? Does that mean that, hey, it's the law, that makes it okay? Is that what that means? Well, it was Nazi laws. So, Koof, so you're saying you understand that just because something is legal doesn't make it okay? Right, Koofs? Saying just because it's legal does not make it okay. So let's explain something. Let's talk about something. I want to get Koofs' opinion on this. It's illegal to hide illegal from the state. I know. I want to ask you this, Koofs. You know who Anne Frank is, right, Koofs? I'm genuine. I'm trying not to bully him here. I want to understand the way he thinks here. You know who Anne Frank is, right, Koofs? Yeah, who doesn't? Okay. So, hypothetical. Like, take yourself in a time machine, throw yourself back in time. Okay? You, in this situation, are hiding Anne Frank in your attic from the Nazis. Okay? Who's committing the crime? The Nazis are trying to find and kill Anne Frank, and you are hiding her. Who is the criminal? Oh, yeah, Anne Frank is one of them. Who else? Come on, Koofs. No, Koofs, you're incorrect. In this situation, you are the criminal, and Anne Frank is the criminal, and the Nazis are the ones practicing the law. So, here's the second. So, do you understand that, Koofs? You understand that, right? This isn't opinionated. That's just the reality of what Nazi Germany was like. Thank you for the $5 donation, Spalewski. That's just the reality of what Nazi Germany was like. You understand that, right? Yeah, I get it. Okay, so here's my second and final question here. Does that climate, does that make you, the person hiding Anne Frank, morally wrong? Like, despite the fact that it's illegal, do you still support protecting and hiding Anne Frank? Would you still support hiding her, even though you know it's illegal? Waluigi. No Borkin. Yes, I would hide her from the Nazis. Okay, so Koos, that means that you understand that just because something is legal does not make it the right thing to do, and that sometimes in life, violating the law is genuinely the right thing to do. You understand that, Koos? We're on the same page here? It's a dumb hypothetical? How is it a dumb hypothetical when it literally fucking happened, Koofs? Koofs, Anne Frank was real. This literally happened. But they're illegal? Anne Frank was illegal. And you're saying it would be okay to hide her. And now you're saying, but they're illegal. Anne Frank was an illegal. Luigi! Anne Frank was an illegal. And you said it's okay to protect her. Is it a crime to come into the country illegally? Yeah, it's a misdemeanor, yes. Hold on, Koofs. Koofs. Before Trump was illegal? It is still illegal, you dumb fuck. Coming here without filing the proper paperwork and coming through the proper avenues is still illegal. It's a misdemeanor. It's always been illegal. What the fuck? What are you even asking me? It's always been illegal. Doug, shut the fuck up. But in Germany, before Hitler, it wasn't illegal to be a Jew, right? No, it wasn't. But let me ask you a question, Koofs. You do understand that Anne Frank was an illegal citizen, right? She was illegal. She was not legal. And you said earlier that you would hide her from the Nazis. You would hide an illegal, right? You just said that. Obama literally did the same thing. Yeah, you don't see me fucking defending Obama, do you? Do you see me defending Barack Obama? All right, put Doug in the corner for 5 minutes. He can troll, but he can't pour gas on a fire that's genuinely real. Put Doug in the corner for 5 minutes. God damn it. Doug is in here with 2 different Dougs. Doug is in here with 2 different Dougs, I think. But back to the question at hand. Koofs, you do understand that Anne Frank was an illegal, right? You understand that Anne Frank was an illegal. Anne Frank was a citizen, but she was Jewish. She didn't enter Germany illegally. Brother, all Jews were... I didn't say an illegal immigrant. I said an illegal. Are you fucking stupid? Oh, wait, he is. Wait. It's Koofs. It's Koofs. So, I'll ask one more time. Koofs, do you understand that Anne Frank was an illegal? Yes or no? I don't answer hypothetical, bro. This isn't a hypothetical, and you do answer hypotheticals. This isn't hypothetical. You don't know what that means, you stupid fuck. Holy shit. Do you understand that Anne Frank was an illegal? That's not a hypothetical question. That's a question, you stupid fuck. Do you understand that Anne Frank was an illegal? Yeah? You said you would hide Anne Frank from the Nazis. Would you still do that or no? Would you hide Anne Frank from the Nazis? Yes, I would. Okay, so you would hide an illegal from the law. You would hide an illegal from the law. He's going to say no, by the way. I have not seen the email Trump sent out with 14 words and 18 words. Trump ain't sending them to Auschwitz. You're right. He's sending them to CCOT. Completely different.
Riot police faced off against anti-ICE protesters in downtown Los Angeles on Friday evening. The tense confrontation came after a day of federal immigration raids across the city. Dozens of people were reportedly taken into custody. This eyewitness footage appears to show one such raid, in which caravans of unmarked military-style vehicles and vans loaded with uniformed federal agents streamed through LA. ICE agents targeted several locations, according to the Los Angeles City News Service, as part of President...
This is awesome. All right, fuck it. You can permaban Koofs. Koofs, go fuck yourself. I hope you get blood cancer and die. Fuck it. Get him out.
Donald Trump's extensive crackdown on illegal immigration. Trump has vowed to arrest and deport undocumented migrants in record numbers. Live video of the subsequent protest showed LAPD officers lined up on a downtown street wielding batons and what appeared to be tear gas rifles. Angelica Salas is the executive director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights.
Our community under attack and is being terrorized.
I don't ever want somebody to accuse me of doing this for the money, because I just permabanned my biggest pay pig because he's a fucking fascist, all right?
These are workers. These are fathers. These are mothers. And this has to stop.
Authorities had ordered demonstrators to disperse around nightfall. Early in the standoff, some protesters hurled chunks of broken concrete towards officers. Police responded with tear gas and pepper spray and also fired flashbang concussion rounds. An LAPD spokesperson said police on the scene had declared an unlawful assembly, meaning that those who failed to leave were subject to arrest. It was not clear whether there were any immediate arrests. Impromptu demonstrations had also erupted at some of the raid locations.
Yeah, Kitty, we just covered that. What? Elon deleted his Epstein tweet? No fucking shot. No fucking shot, dude. Does he think that's gonna undo the damage? Is that what he fucking thinks? Jesus Christ, dude. This is why I hate Twitter. Elon. Twitter is just porn and murder and racism. So what? Did he really get rid of it? However, I would literally suck a fart out of Billie Eilish's ass through a fucking crazy straw just for the opportunity to lap up her sweat like a fucking dog. Sorry, did I just say that out loud? That's crazy of me. That's crazy of me. Was that really the first thing to pop up? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this isn't even my gooning account, bro. My gooning account is a completely different account. So, yeah, no, I think he dead-ass deleted it. Yeah, he deleted it, bro. $50 donation. This is fucking sickening. Join the Discord, join your local community, talk to your neighbors, stay peaceful, don't get too radicalized, grow roots. Thank you, OBK, for the $50 donation. I appreciate that. Admitting he has a goon account? Of course I got a gooning account. Are you fucking for real, bro? Get the fuck out. What do you think me and Maddie watch together when we hang out, bro? Are you dead ass, bro? I have an iPad for a fucking reason, dog. I wonder if Trump is truthed. Big win over Associated Press today. They refused to state the facts or the truth on the Gulf of America. Fake news. Dude, he's crashing out over not calling it the Gulf of America. He's crashing out. And he's reposting AI tweets. This is an AI. What a fucking loser. All an undocumented immigrant has to do is get on the CBP Home app and the DHS will pay them $1,000 and help them self-deport with transportation. Yeah, dude, $1,000 to go back to your war-torn country. Here you go, buddy. That's the stupidest fucking deal I've ever heard. Who the fuck would take that deal?
Now at 11.
I did. We did see Cash Patel. It was fucking hilarious.
Chaos erupts as armed federal agents conduct sweeping immigration raids across Los Angeles. Good evening. I'm Micah Ullman.
And
Do you think I can move to the USA in the future? I would not. I would not move to the U.S., at least during the Trump regime. You're going to want to hope that Trump doesn't win the re-election in 2028, but if he does, no. America's not safe for any foreigners. It's not safe for citizens, bro. Under no circumstance should you come to the United States. This is not a safe fucking nation.
Were arrested during the sweep as angry protesters clashed with federal agents on the streets of downtown L.A.
The surprise raids took place this morning, but the chaos continues into the night as hundreds face off with police. It all began at a Home Depot and then in LA's Garment District as federal agents used flashbang grenades to clear the protesters who were trying to disrupt the operation, targeting undocumented workers.
We have live team coverage
TDS
of the
alert?
raids and
Yeah,
the
Trump
protests.
dick sucker
Lindsay Pena
alert,
has
you
reaction
fucking gay
from
boy.
the immigrant community. But we begin with Chris Wolf live near the Metropolitan Detention Center where the arrestees are being held tonight. Chris.
Yeah, Cher and Micah, protesters keep shifting locations around government buildings. Here in downtown LA, we have heard continuous sirens and clamor and the buzz of LAPD choppers overhead with spotlights cutting through the night sky. Police and FBI agents are keeping protesters away from the Roybal Federal Building and the Metropolitan Detention Center, buildings that were earlier vandalized and spray painted. Friday night, downtown LA, as an army of federal and local law enforcement personnel guards government buildings, including a detention center.
Transgender undocumented migrant AM says, I love being a transgender undocumented migrant. I love sucking dick. God bless Trump. Dude, I couldn't even pretend to type something
where
like that out.
Suspected violators of immigration laws are being held. It's a tense cap-off to an explosive day. Tear gas, flashbangs, angry crowds, and heavily armed and armored U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents marked a volatile Friday in the heart of Los Angeles during a series of immigration sweeps. Agents swarmed into at least 3 locations looking for suspected immigration law violators. The blowback was fast and fierce, with some protesters jumping in front of law enforcement vehicles to prevent them from moving.
They did need to bring in some backup here.
KTLA was in the air and on the ground during the immigration enforcement firestorm. Footage shows federal agents chasing people in the parking lot of a Home Depot in the Westlake district, not far from downtown Los Angeles. Individuals
I'm
often
willing to bet AM as a mugshot. Genuinely. AM, if you're man enough, give me your fucking name and I'll look it up and see if you have a fucking mugshot, because I'm willing to bet you $5 that you do.
Gather at home improvement stores looking for temporary work opportunities with customers. Another raid unfolded at a clothing store along Town Avenue in the Fashion District, where agents hauled off multiple workers in handcuffs, loading them into vans, as other agents in riot gear clashed with onlookers in what could be described as a tense standoff. Immigration rights advocates joined the showdown, using megaphones at times to speak to garment industry workers, telling them to avoid signing any paperwork or speaking to federal agents. The activity is the latest roundup in the Trump administration's unparalleled crackdown on illegal immigration. Another ICE raid Friday targeted what appeared to be a clothing warehouse or possibly corporate headquarters building in the South Los Angeles area.
Since this happened today and no one was notified, will this happen again tomorrow? Will it be next week?
Koofs 2.0. You can permaban Koofs 2.0. Bye, Koofs. Suck my dick. I hope you get blood cancer.
Next month? It's that sense of uncertainty, fear, and anxiety that is created in our city when this
Let's see
happens.
how many he makes.
One demonstrator shouted at authorities tonight, quote, "This is day one of the war." Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
What did Koofs do? He's a Nazi. He's a Nazi.
Thank you. The sweeping raids igniting furious protests and contentious standoffs between activists and ICE agents and police. The detention of at least 45 individuals, including a union president, is the latest chapter in President Trump's escalating immigration crackdown.
Lindsay Pena live in downtown LA with reaction to the arrests from people who have loved ones caught up in the chaos. Lindsay.
Yeah, that's right, Micah and Cher. Now, we're right across the street from the federal building where that rally and protest started.
They will never try this shit in New York. Do you know what New Yorkers would fucking do if ICE started patrolling our streets, rounding up our undocumented immigrants? Do you have the slightest fucking idea? Do you know what the crackheads would do? Listen, if you think the homeless people, the homeless crackheads in New York are dangerous, just see what happens when you start picking up people off the street. Suddenly, they will become sane and go, wait a minute, this is my city. This is my street. Literally, I sleep on this street. Are you fucking dead ass? Hey, history guy, Trump is the modern day King Cyrus. Bow to him. Dude, why are you in a homoerotic relationship with a 79-year-old man? Why do you call Donald Trump daddy? Why do you bow to him? Why do you cradle his nuts and throw it on his cock until it hits your uvula? Why do you do that? AM, are you a grown man? Are you a grown man, AM? Are you a grown man? New York City would go insane? No, it would go fucking nuts. You have no idea what New York City would turn into. You interested? Absolutely, AM. No, but you're a grown man and you praise a politician. You just said bow to him. Do you, not have any sense of independence? Do you need a big, strong man to point you in the right direction? I have a friend whose dad unironically calls him Daddy Trump. Dude, most MAGA chuds call him Daddy. It's the gayest shit I've ever seen. I'm willing to bet money AM has called him Daddy Trump a million fucking times. I'm willing to bet money on that. Do you remember that other one who was like, I met Trump in person? You guys remember that one? Cultists gonna cult? Yeah, they are. But listen, let this be an example of AM probably had a whore mother and his father just left early on. And that's why he needs some sort of manly father figure, but he turned to Donald Trump. But this is what happens when you're raised by a whore and a coward. This is just simply honestly, raised is not the right word. This is what happens when you're created by a whore and a coward. Not to mention that AM's grandmother was a trailer park tramp that you could fuck for $5. Not to mention that part.
Started hours ago this afternoon, and there is still activity taking place tonight. You can hear people honking, and another crowd has gathered just across the street right now. We did.
This guy lies more than CNN. You know what's not a lie is that I could fuck your grandmother for $5 in the trailer park that she raised your shitty dad in.
Says that her husband was caught up in those raids earlier today, and now she is wondering what will happen to her family.
We have elected officials at every level of government.
Hundreds gathered outside the federal building on Los Angeles Street Friday afternoon following ICE raids at several locations earlier in the day. Among those in the crowd was Dulce Camacho, who tells KTLA her husband was taken into custody near a Home Depot in Westlake.
I was able to see him for 10 minutes. He said they haven't gave him anything to eat. They made him sign some papers. He speaks some English, but he doesn't read it well. So I know he doesn't know what he signed.
Originally from Mexico, she says he's
been your mom's a whore.
In the country for 13 years and is undocumented. Now she has to tell her two daughters their father won't be home tonight.
Speaking of laws, AM, I have a question. Real quick, AM, do you know that hiding Anne Frank was illegal? AM, do you know that hiding Anne Frank was illegal? Do you know that? Trying to compare to Nazi Germany? No, I'm asking you a basic question, AM. Do you know that hiding Anne Frank was illegal? Yes or no? This is a simple question that a 9th grader could answer. Try it. Try answering it. It'll be fun. Try answering. Stop deflecting. You can't answer the question? Aw. Try and be brave. I'll hold your hand this time. Do you know that hiding Anne Frank was illegal? Yes or no? Come on, big brave boy. You could do it. Try and answer. Come on, you could do it. Be brave. Be brave. I'm still holding your hand. You could do it, buddy. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. You can do it. Come on. Can't do it? Yes, I know actual. Okay. So, earlier you said, oh no, we're enforcing the law. So let me ask you something. Would you hide Anne Frank from the Nazis? Yes or no? Would you hide Anne Frank from the Nazis? Yes or no? AM, come on. Yes. Okay, so you're saying that you would violate the law to do what is morally justifiable, right? Just so we understand, you're saying you would violate the law to protect this little girl because it's morally the right thing to do? Is that what you're saying? Different situation. Illegals aren't being sent to death camps, buddy. Yes, they are. CCOT. They don't get to see the sun, and they will die in that prison. It's a permanent life sentence. You don't leave CCOT. That's a death camp by definition. By definition. CCOT is a death camp. You're incorrect. We're literally sending them to death camps.
They're out from school with my sister. You know, that I've been talking to her every day about this. So
that's not a Coop's fault. His grammar's too good.
I told her I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to be okay. You know, we don't have a big family, but we have my sister, my brother-in-law, and, you know, with that, we're going to be okay and stick together and try to get him. If he is able to get released here, then that's great. If not, then
this is practically a word-for-word repeat of the conversation with Koofs. Well, that's because all MAGA have the same hive mind. MAGAs are not capable of thinking for themselves. They just listen to whatever the top tells them to think. Trump tells them to think these thoughts, so they think these thoughts. They just repeat it like a fucking parrot.
And try to see how we could keep the family together.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Also taken into custody today was SEIU California President David Huerta. In a statement on X, U.S. Attorney Bill Escalation said he was, quote, arrested for interfering with federal officers and will face arraignment in federal court on Monday.
Had to be taken to the hospital, and he's being detained for exercising his First Amendment rights. So we're asking for the immediate release of our President David Huerta.
Local elected officials who spoke at today's rally, like Assemblymember Mark Gonzalez, say
I
they will
don't
fight
think
for
that
the people
Republicans or like MAGA understand that they are an overwhelming minority. Like, AM probably thinks the majority of Americans think like him. That's the problem. When, first of all, only 22% of the nation voted for Donald Trump, and about half of them have already abandoned him. So you are one of, like, I think 10 or 11 million people who are in a cult. You still blindly support Trump. There's nothing that he can do that'll make you abandon him. You don't have the numbers, bro, whatsoever. And I bet you this dumb fuck is going to go, more than half of the country voted for Trump. This is my point. Republicans are so stupid, they actually think that more than half of the country voted for Trump. It's so embarrassing.
By the raids.
We're making sure that what they're doing in this building, how are they detaining folks, that they have full rights. And we're telling people you need to know your rights.
Election denier.
Now, Sharon, Micah, back.
Who won the 2020 election? Hey, AM, who won the 2020 election?
Back out here live, I want to direct your attention to protesters and law enforcement here at the entrance to the 101 South. We are at Los Angeles and Aliso Street. There was a confrontation just moments ago, but it does look like those protesters are moving on further down Los Angeles. Again, we will keep you updated on what's happening here downtown throughout the night and tomorrow morning on KTLA. For now, we are live downtown. Lindsay Pena, KTLA 5 News. Back to you.
He said Trump won.
Lindsay, thank you. And from the ground to the air, let's go to Gil Labus over downtown L.A. in Sky 5. Gil.
Cher and Micah, this is the small group that Lindsay was just talking about a dozen, the last of the protesters here leaving the area. They were just up against the California Highway Patrol, who have opened all on-ramps and off-ramps to the 101 freeway here, but that small group now moving north of the freeway at this point. They were over on Temple and Los Angeles Street,
hey, AM,
which is now
you
clear.
see William there? William used to be like you. He used to be a Trump cultist, spent some time here. He's been converted back to the OAL, the only Americans left. He's now a sane person and is capable of thinking for himself. You should think of taking a page out of his book.
But the federal officers moved over there, and we're monitoring that group, that small group here. They marched all the way up here to the CHP that were here on Aliso, but they have moved on since. That's the latest overhead up in Sky 5. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, Gil, thank you. The mayor.
And that breaking news is out of downtown Los Angeles. Tear gas flying into a crowd of protesters condemning ICE raids. Police moved in the last few hours after declaring an unlawful assembly. Officers in riot gear formed a line and walked down the street to disperse the crowd. You see it here, a tense night capping off a day of clashes over ICE arrests in Los Angeles. Good evening, I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. Thanks for joining us. Immigration officials have detained dozens of people in raids at 3 different locations.
You have to be an American to be in the OAL? No, that's the beauty of America, is that, well, at least what America used to be. You can go to Turkey, you won't become a Turkmen. You can go to Japan, you won't become a Japanese. You can go to China and you will not become a Chinese. But if you come to America, you can become an American. Doesn't matter where you're fucking born.
In LA.
Our community is under attack and is being terrorized. These are workers. These are fathers.
Thanks, Joe Mama.
These are mothers.
Protesters have tried to keep vans from leaving the scene of raids, blocking the entrance to the federal detention center where detainees are taken to be processed. The Department of Homeland Security says ICE is following the law and expediting the removal of people in the country illegally. LA Mayor Karen Bass is calling the raids mass chaos.
Now at 11, protests and high tension downtown after a series of surprise ICE raids today. Police used tear gas and non-lethal rounds to try and disperse an outraged crowd. We saw video of police taking people into custody, but so far we don't know exactly how many. And you saw these images right here on NBC4 all afternoon and evening. Crowds gathered in protest, and the LAPD called in for backup. Now tonight, leaders across LA are condemning these raids. In all, nearly 24 people were detained in downtown LA and Westlake, part of the Trump administration's...
Chris, you agree elections can be stolen? Of course an election can be stolen. There's never been any proof that an election has been stolen in American history. That's never been proven, even to the point where I'm sure you know about the Heritage Foundation, the right-wing think tank that studies election fraud. They found 22 cases of voter fraud from the year 2000 to the year 2024. So there's never been a stolen election in American history. Well, actually, I guess you could call Al Gore's loss was the closest we've ever had to a stolen election.
Promised immigration enforcement. NBC4's Macy Jenkins live on the ground downtown. She joins us with reaction to what has been a very emotional day for many. Macy?
Well, Kathy, the latest in today's saga.
Thank you for the $2 donation, Sanguinus.
9:30 after several hours of protesting.
You're the one saying Elon rigged the 2024 election? Yeah, because of the anomalies from Rockland County. Have you not heard of this? Rockland County, New York is a... hold on. New York election fraud. Rockland County, New York is a blue area, and there are multiple districts in Rockland County where they voted for Kristen Gillibrand for Senate, who is the Democrat choice. And yet there wasn't a single vote for Kamala Harris in the general election, which election experts have confirmed is not only an anomaly, but it is statistically impossible. Statistically impossible. Here. There's clear evidence that the Senate results are incorrect, and there are statistical indications that the presidential results are highly unlikely, stated Lulu Freisdat, founder and executive director of SMART Legislation. If the results are incorrect, it is a violation of the constitutional rights of each person who voted in the 2024 Rockland County general election. The best way to determine if the results are correct is to examine the paper ballots and a full, public, transparent hand recount of all presidential and Senate ballots in Rockland County. We believe it's vitally important, especially in the current environment, to be absolutely confident about the results of the election.
LAPD officers finally moved towards the crowd, trying to get them out of the street. Now, we saw a few people, 2 people to be exact. They had a slight
And also, yeah,
interaction.
Elon Musk literally said that without him, Trump wouldn't have won the election. He also said that if Trump didn't win the election, he would go to jail for life. Elon Musk has insinuated that he rigged the election numerous times. The same irregularities happened in 2020 against Trump? No, they didn't. And there were 64 lawsuits filed, and Trump lost every single one in court. Every single one. Trump was shot down every single time in court.
With 2 of the officers, they were physically pushed back. Eventually, the crowd dispersed, heeding the warnings to either go home or be arrested. LAPD declaring unlawful assembly outside of the federal building in downtown Los Angeles Friday night. Protesters angry after a series of ICE raids earlier in the day.
Kash Patel wasn't fucking swatted. He's the goddamn FBI director. The judges are rigged too, buddy? Oh yeah, of course. Because anybody who rules against Donald Trump, it must be rigged, right? Just like the 2020 election was rigged. Anything about Trump must be fake news, right, buddy? Right, buddy? Kash Patel swatted. Holy fuck, he was swatted. Good.
My mission is to educate the world that this happened. And as director of the FBI, I have a responsibility. I'm not just going to bring a case because somebody hurt me. They did. and they continue to do it. My house just got swatted yesterday.
What?
Yeah, but
good.
You got swatted?
Oh yeah.
The head of the FBI gets swatted?
Yeah. Yeah. These people play. It's the ultimate height of hypocrisy. They have two sets of rules. One against.
Good.
The USA in our own backyard, and as a Chicana American citizen, it's an outrage and it's a disgrace.
One of the raids witnessed by our NBC crews at the Home Depot in Westlake, where immigration agents detained more than a dozen people. Many of them appeared to be day laborers looking for work in the parking lot. Over in the Fashion District, another raid, this one at Allianz Apparel headquarters. U.S. Attorney Bill Escalation explaining the federal agents were there serving a search warrant because they believed some workers had fake documents. That's where NBC4's Lolita Lopez spoke with a woman in the crowd.
Honestly, it was starting to get pretty aggressive, and people were pushing. They were pushing back. They're trying to open the gates right now, and I don't know. I guess they threw tear gas to open up the space.
And did it catch you?
Yeah, it caught a lot of us. There was kids, there's dogs, there's elderly people too.
Mayor Karen Bass calling the raids unacceptable.
What's your message to Angelenos who see this happening in their city, in a state that we believed SB 54 had created a sanctuary state?
Right, exactly. My message to them is that
AM says you don't even see your own hypocrisy. Everything we say about 2020 is what you say about Trump now. Rigged courts, rigged DOJ, etc. Yeah, the difference is that Trump actually has fucking fired federal judges. Trump has actually arrested federal judges. Trump has actually said that he wants to get rid of due process for all. Trump has actually said that he wants to deport U.S. citizens. Every claim that we have comes with video evidence, you fucking inbred dipshit. Every claim you ever had was fought in court and fucking lost, you pathetic swine. Are you a fucking idiot? Are you a fucking idiot? I bet you this dumb motherfucker doesn't even know that Trump said he wants to deport U.S. citizens. Hey, AM, do you know that Trump said he wants to deport U.S. citizens? Are you even aware of this? The Democrats really care about due process when people getting fired for not taking COVID vax. Okay, so listen, again, dipshit, that's not due process. Do you know that Donald Trump wants to deport U.S. citizens? Are you aware of that or no? It is. The evidence out of Rockland is enough to further an investigation to the point where they're literally having an investigation in September. They're doing a recount in September. Prophet said, just got here, about to go to bed, listen to your live stream. You'll be dictating my dreams. Big booty Latinas, big booty Latinas, big booty Latinas, big booty Latinas. That'll help. Also got to crank the AC a little bit. AM, are you aware that Trump said he wants to deport U.S. citizens to the slave labor camp in El Salvador? Yes or no?
that we are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos.
The protest on Alameda and Temple appeared to die down just before dusk, but suddenly ramped back up again.
Please, look at what's happening. We all got gassed, we got shot at, we got sprayed. I had to get my eyes cleaned 3 times. We couldn't breathe. We had people out in medical tents.
LAPD armed with tactical gear on several sides of the crowd in an attempt to clear the street.
It's hard to talk about, to see people being just, cast away. It's just very painful. And it's devastating that this is happening, and it just feels very senseless. And it's our president that's doing this, and it's just, I can't believe that we've come to this time.
Now, Kathy, if you'll take a look at the intersection of Alameda and Temple, this is a far cry from what we saw just a few hours ago when it was flooded.
Do you think civil war will happen during
protesters.
Trump's term? Yes.
Now, LAPD and LASD noted earlier today they have no role in enforcing immigration policies set by the federal government. But when it comes to public safety within their jurisdiction, they have to step in order to protect the people of Los Angeles. So they say that's why they did that tonight. Bass, on the other hand, says she is putting together a meeting scheduled for Monday, and that's with all of the immigration groups in the area to figure out where they can go from here and how to approach situations like this in the future. Reporting live in
AM, you are still here. So instead of being a coward and avoiding the question, AM, do you know that Donald Trump wants to deport U.S. citizens to the slave labor camp in El Salvador? This is a yes or no answer. If you cannot answer in yes or no, it means you're a baby back beta pussy bitch. Do you know that Donald Trump wants to deport U.S. citizens to the slave labor camp in El Salvador? Are you aware?
Downtown Los Angeles tonight, Macy Jenkins, NBC4 News.
All right, Macy. We start tonight with developing news out of Los Angeles. Take a look. We're monitoring protests as tensions flare outside the federal building downtown. We're learning several people have been detained as part of immigration operations in the city.
Yeah, LAPD has declared an unlawful assembly near the federal building, warning protesters they could be arrested if they don't leave.
The protests come after multiple ICE raids across Southern California. At one scene in downtown LA, a crowd of people tried to prevent authorities from leaving in vans after multiple people were detained. Protesters could be seen throwing objects at the vehicles, while others tried to block the vans from leaving.
Fox has covered this, and they've advocated to charge every single one of these protesters and arrest them and deport them.
Agents were spotted at a Home Depot store in the Westlake District and Ambiance Apparel in LA's Fashion District. Aerial video.
Here's Fox's
coverage. The President
coverage.
of the United States was awake last night, concerned about our law enforcement officers. Pete Hegseth was involved. Everybody was there. What can we do to bring peace? What can we do to bring stability?
Hey, Avi.
What do we do when we have guys like Hakeem Jeffries standing up in front of the world?
What's the right saying about this? The right is loving it. We had it up on Twitter. The right is loving it. They're saying things like, fuck around and find out. This is what I voted for. It's fucking unbelievable. Let me see. Fuck around and find out, idiots. Bring in the military. It is time. Stupid motherfuckers. Fuck around and find out. You can't win. This is what I voted for. Stupid fucks. Start dropping tear gas, shooting rubber bullets and water cannons. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, every Republican in this nation is a servile dog. They will lap up every last puddle that Donald Trump and his Gestapo pours out on the floor for them. It's not, there's no other way to discuss this. These are servile dogs, every single one of them. Elon saved free speech. You should thank him. You're allowed to spew your embellishments. Hey, can I burn an American flag? Am I allowed to burn the American flag, AM? You say you love freedom of speech, right? Can I burn the American flag? Don't worry. We're going to keep on holding your feet to the fire here. I just want to see if you'll answer this one. Jesus Christ. Burning isn't speech, idiot. Okay, so AM, you don't know that the Supreme Court had an entire case that ruled I am legally protected to burn the flag. You're just completely unaware that that is protected by the First Amendment. But also, you answered me, AM, which means you hear me and you are choosing to avoid the first question. So let me ask you again and see if you can role play as a brave non-coward. Do you know that Donald Trump says he wants to deport U.S. citizens to the slave labor camp in El Salvador? If you don't answer this now we know you hear me and you're answering my questions. It means you are a coward, which we know you're a coward, but let's see if you can attempt to prove us wrong. Let's see if you can even attempt to prove me wrong. U.S. citizens, criminals, he means. So, you support exiling U.S. citizens because you can't deport a U.S. citizen. Deporting is sending somebody back to the nation that they were born in. So you are saying that you support exiling U.S. citizens to a slave labor camp in El Salvador? Is that what you're saying, AM? You support that? Come on, AM. Be brave. Be brave. Yep, seems about right. Dude, it's crazy how some of the most evil people on the planet look like just like a very nice grandmother. Yes, send criminals to El Salvador. Well, you heard it here, folks, and knowing that AM is an undocumented migrant, we should send AM to the El Salvadorian slave camp. AM, you are an undocumented immigrant. You're an illegal. We should send you to the El Salvadorian slave labor camp. AM is an undocumented immigrant. AM is an undocumented immigrant. Trump said sends U.S. citizens who murdered to El Salvador. Dude, you're an undocumented immigrant, by the way. You are an undocumented immigrant. Brother, your name is Malik. AM, your name is Malik. And you think ICE is going to be on your side, Malik? Malik, are you fucking stupid? Are you out of your fucking mind, Malik? Are you out of your fucking mind? AM is not Koofs. I'm born here. No, you're not. You're an undocumented immigrant. You're an undocumented immigrant. You weren't born here. Your name is Malik Stodel. Yeah, you weren't born here, Malik. You're an undocumented immigrant. You should be sent to El Salvador. I love you, Chris. I know you're just playing a character. Brother, I'm not playing a character. You are inferior to me. I think you are less than. I hope you don't have a single day of joy for the rest of your life. I'm not kidding.
The fascist regime known as the Third Reich. Your leader is...
These guys are fucking acting like they're about to invade Kandahar.
Go back to the other side of the ocean. Go back to the other side of the ocean. Go back to the other side of the ocean.
All right, it was nice disproving all of your embellishments. Take care. Have a good one, Malik. This seems like escalation. Well, it is escalation. This is the Gestapo. They don't know how to de-escalate. Police officers are not trained in de-escalation. Why do you think the first thing they fucking do is hold out their hand and put their other hand on their gun? Cops, at the end of the day, 90% of all cops peaked in high school, okay? They didn't have the balls to join the military, they don't have the smarts to become a businessman, and they crave the one thing that they've had in high school, which is power, right? So they go and they get a badge and a gun, and then they can exercise their power over the average American. That's it. No, ICE does not let the local police know that these raids are coming. They didn't even let the mayor of LA know. Littering is a crime. Police cannot commit crimes. ICE agents cannot commit a crime. They can't violate the law. They are held to a different standard. There's no rules for them. You and them are on different playing fields. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And even if they did break the law, how are you going to charge them when they're all wearing masks and nobody knows their identity? How are you going to get any sort of consequences? Who pays them? The Trump regime. Most of the Gestapo agents are volunteers. They get paid $30,000 a year to do this. They're doing it for the love of the game. They're doing it for fun.
Violent clashes between immigration advocates and ICE agents caused a day and night of chaos in L.A.
ICE raids in the Fashion District sparked that outrage. KCAL News reporter Elise Martinez is live in the newsroom. And Elise, it was a disturbing scene well into the night, even going into the early morning.
Good morning. Yes, the series of surprise immigration sweeps throughout L.A. prompted a fierce...
Yes, ICE is literally just a terrorist group. That is all ICE is. Every single ICE agent is a terrorist.
Pushback from local leaders, immigration groups, and demonstrators, and those protests continued early into the morning hours. This was the scene in Chinatown early this morning. You can see crowds confronting federal agents as several flashbang grenades went off. Several of the armored vehicles were also vandalized with graffiti. Congressman Jimmy Gomez telling us that he came from Washington, D.C. to observe what was happening. He says he was told that the FBI and federal agents were staging there to provide security for the federal building where people are believed to be detained. He asked them to leave in order
Somebody
to
should
defuse
spray a fucking swastika on this goddamn truck.
Situation. And here's what else he had to tell us.
You know, this all started with Donald Trump saying he was going after criminals. What I've heard today that he went after kids, parents when they were attending their kids' graduations, people that were working in the fashion district, people that showed up, people who had asylum, received asylum, were going through the process, showed up to court like they've done over and over, and were taken to the basement and arrested. So right now they're doing more to spread fear, and that is, and they're not keeping everybody safe. You know, they're trying to say that they're keeping us safe by arresting a seamstress in the fashion district.
The LAPD, they tell us they went in and dispersed the crowd.
Thank you for the $5 donation, Delon. What's good, Chris? The Epstein files have already been released a long time ago. I don't know. We act like they haven't been released. It irks me. Sent to TikTok referring to it. No, the Epstein files were never released. What you're talking about is the flight logs.
Proud, they say no one was arrested.
I don't think we should be blaming the people doing this. We should be blaming the government. I was just following orders was not an excuse for the Nazis during the Nuremberg trials. We charged something like 400,000 Nazis with varying different crimes. Some of them got a year in prison. Some of them got life in prison. Some of them were executed. There are varying degrees, okay? Just because these people are following orders does not absolve them of their crimes. Yes, you need to hold the man at the top responsible for giving them this order. But they took an oath to the Constitution, not to Donald Trump. So when they are given an order that is unconstitutional, they are legally obligated to disobey that order. If you don't, you will be held responsible when we prosecute you.
In Chinatown. Now, chaos erupted earlier on Friday in the heart of the Fashion District after ICE detained employees inside a clothing warehouse. Protesters threw objects at armed agents and then tried to block their armored trucks from leaving. Those agents deploying tear gas and pepper spray.
Yeah, we're not even 25% through the first year of Trump's term. This is all gonna get so much worse. You don't even have a fucking clue. At the rate that we're going, this nation will be white only by 2028. I'm not fucking kidding. Because as soon as they get all of the brown people, who do you think is next? The blacks. What do you think, this stops once we get all of the Gomez's and Garcias out of this nation? Nope. Next up are the blacks.
Swarmed the Los Angeles Federal Building where they believed the detainees were being held. Some of the crowd attacking law enforcement guarding the facility. More confrontation and chaos ensued, and tensions remained high into the evening. The LAPD declared an unlawful assembly and ordered people to disperse. Outside of the federal building, a teacher got emotional as she talked about seeing ICE agents carry out an operation at a Home Depot in the Westlake district earlier in the day.
This morning, I woke
This
up.
dude is a hypocrite. He would support rounding up MAGA. For re-education camps, yes. For deportation and criminal charges, no. But no, we need to do re-education camps. It's the same thing that we did in Nazi Germany. What do you think? Hitler died and suddenly the Germans were like, damn, the Nazis were bad. No. We had a 20-year-long denazification program in Germany where we forced these people to come to terms with them electing a fucking fascist. And we dragged them by their ears to the concentration camps. We made them dig up the mass graves. Yes.
Early to get ready for my students' culmination. I'm a Chiona. I'm sorry, y'all. It was supposed to be a good day. 3 blocks away, I saw day laborers running from our local Home Depot. I took off my heels.
Jack, put Maddie in the corner for a couple of minutes.
What I found devastated me. The food stands were empty. It was a ghost town.
The LAPD says it had nothing to do with the raids, but that it did respond to requests to help maintain order. LA Police Chief Jim McDonald sent us a statement on the raids.
I understand your
saying,
sentiment,
quote,
Maddie. You got to understand, I'm putting you in the corner for your safety. You need to fucking learn that you are not safe enough to comment that type of shit. Take it from me, who's had the knock on the door. You do not have that level of safety. Stop thinking you do.
I want to make it clear, the LAPD is not involved in civil immigration enforcement. While the LAPD will continue to have a visible presence in all our communities to ensure public safety, we will not assist or participate in any sort of mass deportations, nor will the LAPD try to determine an individual's immigration status. ICE confirms 44 people were taken into custody during those raids on Friday. Another person was arrested for obstruction, and there are reports that more protests are planned for today. We're working to confirm that information. Also, Mayor Karen Bass says she's holding an emergency meeting with immigration groups on Monday to talk about what happened and what's next for the city. Live in the newsroom, Elise Martinez, back to you.
What do you mean by the knock on the door? I had Secret Service pull up on me. Fucking guns drawn, dude. I almost faced 10 years in federal prison. I had to get a fucking attorney and go through so much fucking shit. All because these MAGA right-wing chuds will report you to the FBI. They will report you to the Secret Service. They will SWAT you. They will try to get you deported. This is not a joke. I'm not facetious. You live in a fascist nation. You live in a fascist dictatorship. Stop acting like you live in a democracy. You fucking don't. You need to be far more fucking careful, guys.
A day and night of violent clashes between immigration advocates and ICE agents, and it's left LA on edge this morning.
ICE raids in the fashion district
doesn't have jurisdiction where I am. I hate to break it to you, William. The FBI has jurisdiction in every square inch of the United States. It's called eminent domain. You don't own anything. Even the clothes on your back, the government can rip them away from you. This is a law called eminent domain. You own nothing.
Started the turmoil. KCAL News reporter.
I'm not an American. Jack, put him in the corner for 60 seconds.
Elise Martinez live in our newsroom. And Elise, the unrest lasted well into the night.
And into the morning, federal immigration authorities raided multiple locations throughout the city on Friday, their actions drawing an immediate response. The protests continued into the early morning hours. This was the scene in Chinatown early this morning. You can see crowds confronting federal agents as several flashbang grenades went off. Several of the armored vehicles were also vandalized with graffiti.
Saying? Oh, they were trying to say that I'm a threat to the President of the United States.
Congressman Jimmy Gomez telling us he came all the way from Washington, D.C. to observe what was happening. He says he was told that the FBI and federal agents were staging there to provide security for the federal building. He says he asked them to leave in order to defuse the situation. Gomez saying these raids are instilling fear in the residents.
You know, this all started with Donald Trump saying he was going after criminals. What I've heard today that he went after kids, parents when they're attending their kids' graduations, people that were working in the fashion district, people that showed up, people who had asylum, received asylum, were going through the process, showed up to court like they've done over and over, and were taken to the basement and arrested. So right now they're doing more to spread fear.
I think we got to make a video. All right, let's make this video. Oh, yeah. The FBI does have agents all across the globe. That's illegal, right? No. All right. Let's make a video. Trump's Gestapo is raiding Los Angeles. They started last night, the dead of night. It went on into the early hours of the morning. But, yeah, essentially, listen, ICE is the Gestapo. If you are an ICE agent, I hope you don't have a single day of joy for the rest of your pathetic life. They are going around to high school graduations, and everyone is running for their fucking lives in their blue uniforms while ICE is tackling parents. Parents are telling their kids to run one way while they run the other so that ICE can't get them all. They're firing M203 grenade launchers with flashbangs. They're using tear gas. They're running people over with armored cars. And I can't stress this enough. If you still support what is going on, you are inferior. You are no longer an American. You are not one of us. You are the enemy of the people. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Somebody who came from a military family. My dad served in Nam. My uncle served in Korea. My grandfathers served in Europe and in the Pacific. You are not one of us. If you support these Nazi agents patrolling our streets armed to the teeth like they're going to invade Fallujah, rounding up any and all brown people that they fucking can. We're going to cover this. Volume's a little low. Let me crank it up a little bit. Sorry about that. But we're going to cover this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by becoming a patron on Patreon, becoming a member on YouTube, buying some Valenti Videos merch, and using the 40% off discount code on the Ground News Vantage subscription, all located in the description below. But without further ado, we're going to dive right into this. We've got a couple of things that I want to cover. The first thing I want to do is cover these X videos. What the fuck? Look at this. Look at this guy coming out like he's fucking trying to clear out the snake in a game of speedball. Good. Dude, you know what I'm so, here's my thing. Our team here, our boys here, the real Americans are throwing what? Water bottles at these cops? These motherfuckers are gonna bring out M203 grenade launchers instead. Let me explain something. The police, the Nazis, the Gestapo, they do not de-escalate. They've never been trained on how to de-escalate. They don't know how to de-escalate. These are people who most likely peaked in high school. They didn't have the courage to join the military. They didn't have the smarts to become a business owner. So what they did instead was cling on to the one thing that they had, which was power, back when they peaked in high school. So they go and they enlist, they get themselves a badge and a gun, and then they go bully fucking brown people. Why? Because all federal agents are pathetic. Every single fucking one. By the way, this is America. If you were confused because this looks like a war zone, this is Los Angeles. This is where the fucking World Cup is supposed to happen. By the way, I'm willing to bet $50 the World Cup will not be in the United States in 2026. I'm willing, going back to this video, somebody clip this. I'm willing to bet money that the World Cup will not be in the United States in 2026. Guaranteed. Real quick, a massive shout out to all of these people on the sides here. These are really, really brave people being willing to stand this close to the Nazis and film their every move. They are risking their life because the Nazis, they can just detain these people. The Nazis don't have rules for them. See, look, the Nazis here are allowed to violate the law. They're covering their faces. You have no way of charging them. You have no way of knowing who did this to you, okay? So these brave, brave journalists are standing in front of the Nazis and filming them as they violate constitutional law. These are brave motherfuckers. Oh, of course the feds are having fun with this. These are pathetic individuals who crave power even though they are totally powerless. This is just what they are. $5 donation from Egghead. Thank you very much. Remember April 2024, A24 came out with a movie called Civil War. Didn't think it was going to be a prophecy. Oh, I did. Do you think all federal agents are bad or? No, I don't actually think that. I think every single ICE agent is a terrible person. I do think that. Every single ICE agent is a terrible person. I have friends who are in the FBI. I have friends who are in the CIA. I have friends who are in Homeland Security. A lot of them signed up for this because they genuinely care way more about the homeland than we do. And they want to go across and travel the nation and find our enemies and fight them. The people who join ICE are not doing this to protect the nation. They're doing this because they're Nazis. If you join ICE willingly, it means you're doing this because you hate brown people. Especially if you join it now. Maybe things were different in the early 2000s when people joined ICE after 9/11 because there was a genuine fear that we were being invaded by foreign adversaries. But now, at this point, to become an ICE agent means you just have to hate brown people. Do you think they will deport citizens? They already did, Indiana. They have already deported, I think, 10 U.S. citizens, including a 2-year-old child with cancer that needs her daily medication in order to survive, and they did not give her her medication.
There was a
And then
earlier
this
this
one
morning
is
apparently
pretty
a
fucking
raid
crazy.
by ICE here at a business called Ambiance. Then a crowd started forming outside the perimeter. They started actually surrounding these buildings.
We have a piece of video. You can see that they've gotten the people and they put them in these vans. It was a very strange sight to see because they started to leave and there were people who were protesting trying to keep these vans from getting out. And
I'm
the
tearing
video
up right now.
here,
I am so past fucking crying. My tear ducts have dried up. I am filled with pure, unbridled rage at this fucking point. Now, this is important because what you're about to watch is ICE officers, whoever is driving this car, is going to, he's going to do attempted murder. And what I find ironic about this is that if anybody did this to anybody else, they would be held liable for attempted murder. But because these are ICE agents, the laws just simply do not apply to them. Watch this.
Is deeply troubling because these officers, look, there's that person in front, and the officers did not stop these agents or
This is illegal.
whatever
This is
federal
attempted murder.
authorities they were. And notice how this person continued to stay in front, and the officer did not slow. No officer came out.
This is attempted murder. All of the power is in the ICE agent right now. If this man stops backpedaling, he gets run over and killed. ICE has to stop their vehicle here. This is attempted murder.
Tried to get this out, and then watch as the person in front falls and hits his head on the ground, and that just seemed like it was an injury. But then these agents then moved aside and then immediately took off, and we watched these agents almost as if it was a chase.
Masked
they got
cowards.
Got together in the caravan, and we watched as those agencies or those 3 vans went to the Roybal federal building where they took the people that they had detained. And that was the second caravan that had gone there.
Now, what I find very poignant about all of this are some of the replies. I want you to understand, I've made many videos where I told you that you are not up against Republicans, you are up against fascists. And you are. Here is some responses from the average American. Bring in the military. It is time. Fuck around and find out, idiots. Stupid motherfuckers. Fuck around and find out. You won't win. This is what I voted for. Stupid fucks. Fuck around and find out. Start dropping tear gas, shooting rubber bullets, and water cannons. Amazing how these clowns holding their phones in the air are more concerned about the cops abiding by the rules than the illegals who broke the rules by coming here. Why can't someone invent a device that sends a signal out to all the protesters' phones that digitally fries them? Well, don't worry. Palantir is going to work on something like that, and you're going to support it because every single Republican is a bootlicking servile doggy. Woof, woof. Got a little bit more footage here.
We begin here at 7 o'clock with Chris Wolf outside the Metropolitan Detention Center with the latest details on the immigration enforcement actions throughout the day. Chris.
I'm going to go fill up my coffee.
Yeah, Micah and Cher, unrest obviously continues tonight over the immigration sweeps today. These ICE raids, much of downtown LA is closed off. We are near the detention center where a lot of the people rounded up today have been transported. Crowds are gathering all throughout this area and outside the federal building. Law enforcement personnel in riot gear are keeping a close watch on the tense atmosphere. They've been firing rubber bullets and pepper spray for crowd control at times. As I said, we are near the Metropolitan Detention Center, where a lot of the people who were rounded up and arrested and handcuffed today were taken. Clearly, the situation has been explosive and chaotic. Tear gas, flashbangs, angry crowds, and heavily armed and armored U.S. immigration and...
Again, I find it poignant that I must remind you, this is not the Middle East. This is Los Angeles, California, in the United States of America, the so-called most powerful nation on planet Earth, the best nation on planet Earth. This is Los Angeles.
Customs enforcement agents marked a volatile Friday in the heart of Los Angeles during a series of immigration sweeps. Agents swarmed into at least 3 locations looking for suspected immigration law violators. The blowback was fast and fierce, with some protesters jumping in front of law enforcement vehicles to prevent them from moving.
They did need to bring in some backup here.
KTLA was in the air and on the ground during the immigration enforcement firestorm. Footage shows federal agents chasing people in the parking lot of a Home Depot in the Westlake district, not far from downtown Los Angeles. Individuals often gather at home improvement stores looking for temporary work opportunities with customers. Another raid unfolded at a clothing store along Town Avenue in the Fashion District, where agents hauled off multiple workers in handcuffs, loading them into vans, as other agents in riot gear clashed with onlookers in what could be described as a tense standoff. Immigration rights advocates joined the showdown using
Why
megaphones.
are those Nazis carrying, like, glorified Nerf guns?
Immigration rights advocates joined the showdown using megaphones at times to speak to garment industry workers, telling them to avoid signing any paperwork.
Also, yeah, no, real quick, to any foreigners watching this who had like some sort of dream of coming to America for a better life, don't. You will not get a better life here. Most likely, you will be rounded up and deported to an El Salvadorian slave labor camp with no due process. If you're a student, don't come here for school. Go to England. Go to fucking Oxford or something. The United States of America is not a safe nation for its own citizens, let alone foreigners. Do not come to the United States. It is not safe.
Speaking to federal agents, the activity is the latest roundup in the Trump administration's unparalleled crackdown on illegal immigration. Another ICE raid Friday targeted what appeared to be a clothing warehouse or possibly corporate headquarters building in the South Los Angeles area.
Since this happened today and no one was notified, will this happen again tomorrow? Will it be next week?
There was once a dream of America, so fragile that if you so much as whispered that dream, it could come crumbling down to its knees. That dream is dead. That dream of foreigners coming to the United States and becoming citizens and having a family and accruing wealth and having a better life is dead. Gone.
Be next month. It's that sense of uncertainty, fear, and anxiety that is created in our city when this happens.
Thank you for the $1 donation, Jermaine.
Back here live where CHP officers have shut down the 101 freeway through this area. This is Aliso Street and Los Angeles streets. Again, a very tense situation continues over today's immigration sweeps. Mayor Bass says she will be meeting with immigrant advocates and the LAPD chief next week to formulate a plan of action moving forward. We will have much more on
this. This is, by the way, how you start to see the beginning of what will be the second civil war in the United States. The most likely scenario of this civil war is not civilians fighting each other, but it is different states deploying their National Guard to defend their sanctuaries against Trump's Gestapo, the Nazis, ICE. And what I mean by that is if the Nazis tried to do this type of shit in New York, well, the New York governor, as long as it isn't Andrew Cuomo, would deploy the Empire City National Guard, the New York City National Guard, to defend our hospitals, our schools, our churches. And that is when you would see the Civil War break out, because then all Trump would need to do is invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1807, the Insurrection Act of 1807, and declare that all National Guard units have been absorbed by the federal government, which would then make ICE versus National Guard units have to stand against each other. That is the most realistic scenario of some form of civil war, and this has happened before. During the desegregation period, there was like schools in Mississippi and whatnot where the governors were like, we are not desegregating. So the racist governors would put the National Guard against a school to not let black students in. And then what did Dwight D. Eisenhower do? Well, he fucking sent in the 101st Airborne, the guys who jumped out of planes into Nazi Germany, like Easy Company. President Eisenhower sent in like fucking Easy Company from Band of Brothers to show up to these National Guard pussies and turn them into federal guards, and then they just let the black students in. You're going to see that happen, but inversely, okay? It's going to be an absolute nightmare. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. Also, if you want to support the channel financially, a couple of ways you could do it. You can become a member on YouTube. You can become a patron on Patreon. You could buy Valenti Videos merch, and you can use a 40% off discount code for the Vantage subscription on Ground News, located in the description below. Other than that, click that video right there. It's a banger. Have a good one. All right, thummy time. I don't even need to make a thummy. These pictures are so fucking insane. I literally don't need to make a thumbnail. I just saved this picture and that's gonna do. Just wait till you fucking see it. Yeah, we're gonna lose frames. We're gonna lose frames. I spent that entire time bawling my eyes out. Weaponize your fucking tears. Thought you fixed the frames issue? So did I. But alas, c'est la vie. Give me them frames back. Yo, give me my fucking frames back. See? I don't even have to make a thumbnail. No, this website is not free. What do we think? Bottom, middle, or top? It can't be bottom. I think that's it. All right, let's get this uploaded. Other than the nightmare, how's everybody's day? I hate that. That's even like, I gotta ask how's everybody's day. Meanwhile, the fucking Nazis are raiding my nation. Okay, this is episode 142. Trump regime sends, or how about this? Watch chaos in LA as ICE Gestapo agents raid the city with chaos in LA as ICE Gestapo agents raid the city as if it's Fallujah. All ICE agents are inferior beings. There we go. Nope, there is no AI in this. All right. That is uploaded. I'm gonna end the stream, guys. I need a break. That was fucked. I need to go get high. That was awful. Later, guys. Catch ya. Jack, you fucking suck at Splitgate, you fucking freakishly tall piece of shit. I'll fucking break your goddamn knees. And then you'll be 5'11", you fucking scumbag. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Fucking piece of shit.